everyone. Welcome to our second game of this All Boss Tokens tournament for Bugs Bunny and Taz Time Busters. Second game is certaintrips versus Ayaash. Just wait for both players to get going. And they are off. First thing they're going to have to do is they're going to have to do the flying box strat, which gets them out of Greenwich, the unintended way, of course. The intended way is to pick up the 10 gears. Ayaash has done that very well. Trips is just, there we go, Trips is in as well. So how you do that is you get Bugs to sneak in between the two boxes. Taz pushes the box into Bugs' head. And if you call Bugs with Taz from the correct position, Bugs should fall below the box and become out of bounds like this. Now, in any percent, we actually go straight to Transylvania to beat the boss straight away. You can actually do it in under 3 minutes. But in this category, and in 100 as well, we go to Viking first. That's because there are 2 power-ups in here which are going to help us for the rest of the run. Okay, so both players will get those first power-ups straight away. That is the Taz to throw Bugs ability. So I'm going to talk more about that later on. But first they get their first boss token, and Ayaash has gone out of bounds, so now has certaintrips. And this skips a massive puzzle where you have to find all these statues, push them in the right place. This skips all of that. But both players have to be a bit careful when they get below the map. You have to make sure that you don't go below the camera. You have to make sure they don't go the wrong side of the door and fall below the floor. Both players just taking their time. Ayaash has got it. Let's see where certaintrips end up. I think certaintrips might have to. Oh, he's all right, I think, actually. Yeah, certaintrips should get that, and he does. So now Ayaash has just done the super bug trips or super speed glitch, as it is, and we now see Trips do it now. It's the only time we use this in the game, actually. It's actually the fastest form of movement, but in this category, we only use it at this point. And 100% it's used a little bit more. And they've got their second power up there. So this is the super roll for Bugs. So this is actually Bugs' fastest form of movement in the game. I should say I can't hear any game audio. I hope everybody else can. I don't know if everyone else can hear me. So now they're inside the first proper level, which is Shield Race. This is a ride auto-scroll level. It's got deafened by the game audio there. It's good now. I'm going to explain the storyline of the game rather than talk about this level too much. So the storyline of the game is Granny hires Daffy as a pest remover to try and get rid of this mouse, but Daffy being Daffy, he's not very good. Instead of getting rid of the mouse, he gets rid of the time gem, which holds time together from the time regulator. That disrupts the flow of time, causes all sorts of chaos, and it is the job of Bugs and Taz to go through these areas, rescue it. And as we mentioned, any percent is getting the time gem, which can be done in under 3 minutes in a speed run. 100% is collecting all 6,010 gears. The world record at the moment is a 137, which is held by me. But that may well change. There's something reasonably new that's been found recently. I'm pleased to say I think the stuff has been fixed. The audio you can hear is certaintrips, who is just slightly behind at the moment. Ayaash now moving his way into Moon Valley. Just watch Bugs get thrown on the floor there, slightly quicker way of getting to Moon Valley. So we'll see Ayaash now attempts the first out of bounds here, and this is probably actually one of the hardest ones to do, because let's see if it happens. No, Ayaash has avoided it. So sometimes Bugs get squished there. If that happens for too long, he spawn walks back to the start of the level, and I don't think there's too much you can do about this, unfortunately. So Ayaash has now found the first of these light switches. You need to find all 3, and then once you've done that, you head to the boss. certaintrips also has done well there. Both players making a solid start here. And Ayaash now making his way to the second switch, throwing Bugs onto the floor and avoiding the death abuse, which is what you want. So we'll now see Trips do that. See if he takes his time. I think he'll be good there. Hopefully Bugs is alive. He is just about. And this is a unique thing about this game. You've got 2 players, so we rarely have to do any backtracking at all. Ayaash killing Taz. So I can't see where Ayaash is. I think Ayaash has unfortunately failed the anvil jump. Oh, and so has certaintrips. He was so close. See if he gets it a second time. He's a bit far away for my liking there. Both players just perhaps need to line themselves up a bit more. For a third time. There we go. Oh no, certaintrips. Oh, bit of a mistake there. Meanwhile, Ayaash has done it and is now in the boss. So the anvil jump, you can see, it's quite hard to do. You need to line yourself up on the anvil with Bugs, hover onto the anvil, and then dive jump at the last second onto the platform. And it's a very difficult thing to do, especially if you're a new player. But both players have now got past it and are onto the boss. So there are 2 parts to this. You have to throw the bombs at the shield, but then the second part is you have to avoid his belly flop animation attack. And there are 2 ways of doing this. You can stand on the edge of the platform, or you can death abuse. So Ayaash has already done 2 hits. He's now on the 3rd. I don't know why shields keep the ship going, but there we are. Meanwhile, Trips is catching him up slowly. I think Ayaash is having a bit of problems there. Meanwhile, certaintrips improvising nicely. And if you watch my run earlier, you'll have seen I also had problems with this boss. We were actually talking earlier in the Discord about how we might be able to skip this, but at the moment there's no way of doing so. And I can see members of chat there talking about how much they hate this boss. I hear you. This boss also gave me problems as well. So both players on this side have 2 shields left. I think Ayaash is slightly in front there. Let's see where Ayaash is. Ayaash is on the final one, I believe, now. And you'll notice the boss is increasing his patterns of attack. So on the first 2 hits he does 1 belly flop, on the 3rd and 4th one he does 2, and on the final one he does 3. So Ayaash, I think, just coming up to the final one. Both players are very, very close. This is exactly what we expected, really, in all honesty. Both players are very close in the leaderboards. But Ayaash just has the edge. He picks up the boss token. Meanwhile, Chips, I think, is on his last one. Does it well. And now he'll pick up the boss token as well. So both players are not far behind each other. So Ayaash now working his way to Aztec. And you're supposed to get through here by collecting the 10 gears, as I mentioned earlier. But what they're going to do is they're going to throw Bugs at the door. And you can see there, if you throw it successfully, you can go straight over the door and into Aztec. The other 3 areas you're supposed to defeat their respective bosses. So to get to Viking, you're supposed to defeat Sam, so on and so forth. So Ayaash now getting his next power up, which is the bounce ability. Bugs to bounce on Taz's head, and we'll see more of that later on. You can actually do this run without using that, but it only saves 7 or 8 seconds, and you can actually get into trouble if you don't pick it up, and you mess a few things up in Arabian. So Trips following Ayaash into the Boom Realm, which is similar to Moon Valley. Only thing is, of course, you're supposed to do this one first. So what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to throw these coconuts into these switches. And I always think that first one's actually the hardest, because you've got the boom chasing you there. And unfortunately, it's come flying out for certaintrips. I really hate it when it does that. Sometimes he comes flying out at you, other times he doesn't care at all. So Ayaash now going out of bounds again. Just needs to go a little bit lower, I think. Trips is not far behind. Trips may well catch him here. One question you might ask, you might think, well, with all this out of bounds, why don't we just go straight to the boss? Well, the answer is we can't, because the boss actually doesn't load until you've completed all of the intended targets. So you have to do all this stuff for the boss to actually load. So the out of bounds there, it skips opening this gate on the right hand side of where Ayaash just was. It saves a fair bit of time in all boss, but actually in 100 it doesn't save that much at all, really. Both players are actually on. This is supposed to be the third switch that you find, but it's actually the second one that we do. Haven't seen any major mishaps so far from either player in this area. It really is very close. Now Ayaash grabbing the ledge with Taz there, that's something I can't do. Fair play to Ayaash there. Then he throws Bugs onto the floor, slightly quicker way of getting down. And Trips not far behind him. Oh, I think Ayaash just about gets away with that dive jump there. Risky move to do, but if you can get it, it's definitely worth doing. Saves a couple of seconds. And this is supposed to be the second group of switches you do, but you can see the boss is literally right outside. We'll see it in just a moment. Trips not far behind him at all there. I've got to say, really close match from the pair of them. Both of them are not far behind. One mistake and this can all change. So, as you'll see there, we'll now actually see it with Trips because I missed it with Ayaash, unfortunately. You're supposed to fight this boss, but what you do is you pick Bugs up, throw him at the door, and you skip all that, which is why we get the throw from Aztec. And you can also see there's a little cutscene skip, I believe, that both players have done there. It doesn't save a huge cutscene, but it's definitely worth doing. So now Ayaash doing our most recent out of bounds found by Tascan. And this again skips another puzzle where you're supposed to dig a hole and push up all these poles. This saves around about 10 seconds upon doing it the intended method. Certaintrips has also done that successfully. That's actually not the easiest out of bounds to do it. You can miss if you're not careful. And it really is, both players are pretty much step for step here. They really are that close. And they probably won't be separated by this level. The Dragon Ride, or Sacred Ride as it's called. And chat there referring to Certaintrips, but he knows what he's doing. Both players are really close. So now they're going into Dragon Ride. And look at this animation here that we do. So if you hold left and right on the keyboard rather than walking normal, you can actually go ever so slightly faster. It's almost like a zigzag. It doesn't take too much time. It saves around about a second or two. And Trips has literally just got in there with him. So as they're both on a ride level, I should explain the structure of this run. So you've got the Homeworld token, the auto scroll ride token, and you've got the mini boss / puzzle token. And that's basically the structure of this run. We do this 4 times over. Once we've done that, then we defeat the final boss. And these levels are fairly straightforward in this category. You don't have to worry about them too much, especially this one, because it's quite hard to die. Trips there going for the lava jump and getting it, and now Ayaash is in the chase section. This lava, it can kill you, but you have to be really slow in order to be killed by it, really. And you can also see that the gliding, it doesn't take too much time, but it's slightly faster. Both players, they're not quite neck and neck, but they're really close. And Ayaash doing the 100% strat there of going over that 25 gear. That 25 gear has really bad hitbox, as do a number of other gears in this category. So that's all the Aztec tokens done. It's actually quicker to do the level again, or to say you've got to do the level again and then quit rather than go out of the door. So now watch out for this next strat. We're supposed to defeat Elmer to get into Viking. But what we're going to do is effectively going to do what we did in the Boom Realm. We're going to throw bugs at the door. And we are in. But that is a PC exclusive strat. That actually doesn't work on PlayStation, I believe. So now we're in the Arabian area. This is the third area. And now we're actually on where we should be. So you're supposed to do Arabian third. So Ayaash, now this puzzle that Ayaash is on now, and certain trips is just getting to, is actually probably one of the nicer puzzles to skip, because you're supposed to spin all these switches and have the winds line up from one end to the other. So I always think this is one of the best ones to skip, actually. Just see Trips do it there. You can jump on the vase there just to get on that last whirlwind. It's pretty easy to do. And even if you can't do it that way, you can use Taz, which is why it's helpful to have the bounce ability. So now Ayaash on our second temple. So the idea behind this one is you're supposed to find these 4 genies, free them all. Once you free them all, you give the token. So we can't actually skip this token with an out of bounds because it doesn't spawn until you found all the genies. We do this one the intended way. Swimming through this area here. There is an out of bounds on the right hand side by a waterfall, but there's some debate about how much time it actually saves. Ayaash just getting into carpet chase, and in a moment we will hear the best line in the game from Trips. I've never actually heard that line in French. It would have been cool to see what that sounds like in French. And both players, they are step for step here. They really are that close. I don't know what people in the chat think, but it's really, really close. This. And there it is. Everybody loves that line. We should have called the tournament, bring back that lamp. So there's not much to say about this level, really. You literally just have to beat the little guy to the end. Once you do that, you get the boss token. So whilst I'm in a ride level, I should explain that you can only really speedrun this game on the PC version. You can't do it on PlayStation, really, because this is all boss token. So you can't do this on PlayStation for a number of reasons. The main reason is the loading screen. There are these loading screens that take 5 seconds every time you enter and exit a level. So if you were to do this on a PlayStation, you would already be at least 60 seconds behind at a minimum, I think. Also, the game seems to run slower as well. A number of tricks don't work the same. Bugs doesn't jump as high. The out of bounds glitch often freezes if you try to attempt it. So if you want to speedrun this game, you can only really do it on PC. You can't do it on PlayStation. If you have to just a casual play, then PlayStation is fine. Do bear in mind some of the mini games that we won't see in this category today are actually made slightly harder. And if you do attempt 100% in this category, bear in mind that this is actually the worst section of the level where certain trips is now. Those gears in the air that he's literally just going past are really, really nasty. So if you do 100% in this game, watch those gears. They're really quite horrible. So now Ayaash will roll his way to Royal Gardens. I do apologise, I keep getting both players confused. I'm really sorry. Ayaash on your right, Trips on your left. So we're in Royal Gardens. So this is the puzzle token now. There's no mini boss here as such. And opening that gate's fairly straightforward. You just press the directional buttons. In the PlayStation version, though, you have the shape buttons: X, circle, triangle, and square. So we have to find, it's very similar to Moon Valley and Baboon Run, we have to find these 3 pearls to put in the lion's hand that we saw at the start of the level. Trips is about to go past them. And this first one that Ayaash is doing, you have to do the intended way. So you have to throw bugs through these rings. Now, that first one's fine. You have to be careful with these other ones, though, because if bugs touches the edges of the rings, then you have to do it again. You don't have to do the whole thing again, but you have to do the individual one again. Ayaash does it successfully, and then he would get the first pearl on the rope there. And it really is very interesting, this race. Both players continue pretty much to move almost at the same time. I wonder if Trips can pull this back. I don't know if he knows where he is, but it will be interesting to see how. It'd be interesting to see if both players know what's roughly going on. So now the other two tokens, or pearls rather, we're going to go out of bounds again. Now, I haven't explained out of bounds very much. So when you spam hover there, you're below the map. And you're doing that to get above the map. If you don't spam hover, you spawn walk back to the start. So you need to do that. And then if you are holding directional buttons whilst you're below the map, you're also moving in the map. So Ayaash just taking his time on this first one. This first one that he's doing, you're supposed to shoot this guy with the carrot gun and get the inputs from him, but you don't even actually need to do that. There's a ledge you can stand on and dive jump using Taz. So now Ayaash onto the second one. I think Trips is just slightly behind. Ayaash has got below the map. Now he needs to find where he's going. He is going the right way, I think. And that was a very quick first pearl from Trips there. He's almost level. He may well get back level here. Let's see if he's going the right way. And Trips got a little glitch there where sometimes the camera turns black. We don't know why this happens really, but if that happens, you just switch back to Taz and then back to Bugs, and that solves it pretty quickly. So Ayaash gets the boss token, and Trips is going to be right behind him. And this has been a really, really good match up to now. Both players pretty much step for step have been level. No game crash. No, that's the most important thing. And you can see there from the SpeedGaming bots, we've got all the details of our community there. So go check those out. Now, all Trips has failed out of bounds. Can he get it second time? He will. So this out of bounds works slightly differently. You have to walk along the wall this time, rather than go straight out of bounds. And that gets to the third genie. You're supposed to dig up all these poles to get here. But you can actually skip quite a fair chunk of this, actually. Even 100%, you can skip a fair chunk of doing this. So Ayaash making his way out of the Earth Temple. Trips not far behind. It's been the story of the run so far. Now Trips rolling his way to the final temple, which is the Fire Temple. He also clips the missing guy there. Missing guys are part of 100%. You need all 5 in order to unlock 100 gears from each era. Now let's see if Ayaash goes for the cutscene skip that you can do here. He couldn't quite get it that time, but it's a tricky thing to do. I actually tried to do it earlier, and unfortunately I couldn't get it. Trips is going to go for it though. The game just wouldn't quite bounce there, unfortunately. I think he deserved to get it, but unfortunately he couldn't quite get it that time. But if you can't get it, then that's perhaps the next best thing to happen. I miserably failed that earlier on, unfortunately. So now both players grab the token. It is unbelievable how close both of these are and how close they've been throughout the run. I don't know if either of them are aware of how close they are, but it really has been a great encounter, this. And it will be unlucky for the person who loses. I think it would be a very harsh defeat. But of course, defeats are no big deal at the moment because it's a round robin. It's not a knockout, so defeats at this stage don't really mean too much. So what I've just done now, this is the other way of getting out of bounds in Greenwich. This is the way we used to do it actually, until we found Flying Box. And to get from Arabian to Transylvania, this is actually the quickest way. Yeah, I think if he had got that cutscene skip, he would have been in front. So now both players in a moment will roll to Haunted River. Ayaash just ahead of Trips. I wonder if Count is going to decide this. Count is RNG. Is RNG going to decide this fixture? It'd be really cruel if that is the case. So both players onto Haunted River, which is our final ride auto scroll level. And I love this level in this category. In 100%, I can't stand this level. It's absolutely awful. All the gears in the air, you can jump straight over them, and if that happens, then it's pretty much run over. I was going to talk about something in this, but I've forgotten what it was. So I'll mention, actually, in this version, the PC version, the music for this level is different to PlayStation. It's almost a bit like a beta form, if you like. And this is also the case as well in Zoovania, which we're going to see in a moment. Roller drums and the actual Count boss fight itself. So while both players are in this level, they should be fairly fine here. I'll just explain the tournament a bit more. So you're going to see a lot more of this game over the coming weeks, and there are 6 of us. We're competing in a round robin or a league table tournament, and we all play each other once, 5 games each, and whoever is top of the table at the end will win. And this is our first tournament that we've actually done. And also it's quite good that we've done it in our 20th, and in the game's 20th year as well. The game will be 20 years old in November. So both players safely navigating Haunted River, as you would expect. The whirlpools and the crocodiles, they don't really pose too much of a problem. If there are any questions in chat, I will try and answer them. I have been keeping an eye on chat. Yes, that's actually a very good point from Exordo. I wish we could do this level faster, although I don't know if that would be any benefit to 100, but yeah, I do wish we could do this level a little bit faster. It actually takes 3 minutes, or 2.5 minutes, just to take one run of this level. Okay, so now Ayaash going to the Homeworld token. Now this, with it being so tight, this could be a decider here. So we're going to do a gate clear. And this skips doing a puzzle where you're supposed to use these monsters. Ayaash has got it, so that's good. You're supposed to use these monsters to punch these bells at the top of the towers. Once you've done that, the gate opens and you get the token. So Ayaash now in Zoovania. Let's see what happens to Trips. I think Taz might be a bit far away. It's a very precise trick, this. I wouldn't call it really, really hard, but you need to be in the right position. So Ayaash now in Zoovania, which is the longest level, not only in this category, but also in 100 as well. So Trips has got the boss token. He's still in with a shout here. So this is going all the way. I think this should be a really, really good ending. So Ayaash doing the first switch. You'll see at the moment the level is in day form. You need to find all these switches to turn the clock from day to night. And it's a bit of a fool, really, almost, to the players to say, well, you know, it's a final level, it's a daytime level, it doesn't look scary, but when you turn the clock from day to night, all these monsters appear, and there's a piranha in this pool. Something I haven't mentioned is the use of clocks, actually. That clock that Ayaash just did is probably one of the most scary in the game. You've only got 10 seconds to get to the bottom of the water to hit that switch. If you go in the wrong direction, or you don't go down quick enough, it's actually quite hard to come back. Trips again, not far behind. So now watch what Ayaash does here. He's going to do a little trick here. You're supposed to push these cages onto these switches, but if you run away with Taz, you don't have to do that. You can literally just stand on the switch there, and then go through the hole and get the third switch. Trips, I think, just about got that. Now, what's Trips going to do? Is he going to do the Ayaash method, or is he going to do the out of bounds method? If he does out of bounds, he may well catch up. Ayaash gets out of bounds successfully there. So this final one, you're supposed to use the bubblegum with Taz, which is supposed to be a power up. But you don't actually need to talk to Tweety to get it. Trips just needs to perhaps go a little bit further left. He will get it that time. Can't quite get it. Meanwhile, Ayaash is on that final one. And Trips is going to do it the intended way, which is fair enough. So now Ayaash has hit all 4 switches, so now you can see the clock turns from day to night. I don't know about that, Treble. I don't know about that. So now watch what Ayaash does here. Ayaash is going to do a bubblegum skip. And this isn't actually much faster. It's a more risky move. But it actually skips fighting this little boss. It's not really a boss as such, but you have to throw these pills at these plant eaters to get rid of them. So now Trips has got out of bounds. I'm just trying to see which one he's going to. I think it's the 3rd one. Meanwhile, Ayaash successfully navigating his way through the bubblegum strap. Both players just focusing themselves on what they need to do. Yeah, I do wonder if there is a faster way of bubblegum. I can see why bubblegum is used. I think it is slightly faster than doing the intended method, but there isn't much in it really. And in 100, actually, believe it or not, we don't actually do this at all in 100. You don't need any boss tokens to complete 100%. But all 3 bosses, except for Count, it's quite difficult to get into them with the bubblegum. Ayaash also successfully getting the cutscene skip there. I think Ayaash is in a good position now. He should see this through. But it's been a really, really good effort from Trips. He should take a lot of positives from the way he started the game. And he will definitely be a really good opponent for everybody. So he's just on the final switch there. Meanwhile, we'll focus on Ayaash in the Count boss fight now. So again, you're supposed to do these puzzles, but once again, we're going to basically break that. There's a little door clip you can do there. It's not the easiest thing to do, so Ayaash has gone out of bounds instead. That's what I did earlier on as well. And he just drops on the floor. And that's probably another puzzle actually that's really good to skip. You're supposed to tickle these dragons, and then there's a cauldron you stand on that throws you up in the air. And you have to hit that switch. But again, going through the door there is much quicker. Ayaash on certain trips on bubblegum now. I do apologise, I've got both players confused quite a few times, I'm really sorry. So Ayaash now in Count, he gets good RNG, so I think Ayaash will now see this through. So there's 4 squares that Count can appear out of there. He can appear out of any one of them, so it is literally a 50-50 chance as to whether you're going to get it or not. And there are 4 of these gargoyles that you have to do. Very good window jump there. You're supposed to jump up there with the bounce ability from Bugs to Taz, but you don't actually have to do that. If you place Bugs close enough to the window ledge, you can just jump straight on the window. You can also actually get counts to damage abuse you up there. And Trips also got the cutscene animation as well. But I think Ayaash should see this through. Is he on the? I think this is his final one, is it? He is. So Ayaash has taken that with a time of 33:54. So well done, Ayaash. But Trips should definitely not be disheartened by this performance. I don't know how much practice he's actually done, but he should be very, very encouraged by how he started and how he kept up with Ayaash, because Ayaash has got the most recent PB. And I think Trips will probably get a 36. We saw Trips get the door clip successfully there. the first one. The second one, yeah, I think the camera just needs to be a little bit further around. The camera in this game can sometimes be really annoying. Just perhaps needs to walk away a little bit. There we go. There we go. He gets there in the end. When the camera's like that, it's really, really annoying, and it's really difficult to reset it as well. That's a great freeze frame as well from Ayaash as well. It's a fantastic freeze frame. So let's see if Count treats Trips nicely. Hopefully he will. He hasn't, unfortunately, on that occasion. He's gone in the bottom corner. He will get it that time, though. Easy peasy. And in many ways, if you can't get up on the first go, then that's probably the next best thing that can happen. So you push the first gargoyle into place. Then spin on to the next one. And you see there, Count blocks the window. This isn't too much of a problem. You want to avoid it if possible, but sometimes it's quite difficult to avoid. You're not supposed to actually jump up there until you've span or kicked Count. But it's easier said than done. I can vouch for the world record doing that, because the world record might have been getting quite nervous by this point. Yeah, same for me, GG to Ayaash, but I think both players have done really, really well here. And both players should be encouraged by their performances, I think. And this is a good thing about this tournament. I think it'll be a really, really close tournament. As you've seen here, one mistake can decide it, unfortunately. Is that the final one for Trips? It is. He finishes with a time of 36:41. So decent times from both players. Well done to both. I'm not entirely sure what happens now. I don't know if they're going to finish it or whether it's going to be finished on my own. But yeah, congratulations to both players. It was a great game, and it was very, very close right up until the end. And I will say that the next game that's taking place is on Saturday. This Saturday coming, between Exordo and Bearhead. And you can catch it on one of these channels. That's at 12 o'clock UTC, 1 o'clock if you're in Britain, 2 o'clock if you're in Europe, 8 o'clock, I believe, ETD. I believe, I don't know if we're getting, or we are getting a call from Ayaash. We'll see if he joins us. Thank you very much. Thank you to Trinton for all his help. He's done a really good job actually today. And thank you to all the guys at SpeedGaming. Thank you for having us as well. We really enjoyed working with you, and we continue to work with you. It's up to Ayaash if he wants to do one or not. If he doesn't want to do one, then I'm happy to leave it. But it's entirely up to him. Perhaps I should go into Discord and ask. Let's just ask him. Let's see if he comes. Oh, is he here?
Hey.
Hey, hello. How are you?
Fine, and you?
I'm good, thanks. That was a really, really good game.
Yeah, I'm quite happy with it.
Yeah, I should think you're happy to win.
Yeah. This race was pretty close. We had this really similar PBs, so I'm happy that I won. But I think certaintrips did a really good job too.
Yes, it was a fantastic to watch it. You were really, really close up until I think Zuvania.
My start was really floppy, I think. So I thought he was first at the beginning.
Yes, I think that's going to be the problem with everybody, because I'll be honest, I didn't make a great start either earlier on. I think everybody's going to be like that. I'm just trying to find your next opponents. Is it Bearhead?
I think it's Bearhead.
I think it must be.
Yeah.
Bearhead. We haven't seen anything from him yet, have we? So
yeah, it has been several years since he runs the game. So
I believe he's got a PB and he hasn't told us about it yet. But I believe he's now under sub 40, so it should be a great game.
Yeah, could be interesting.
Yeah.
A few years ago, he was the best runner on this game, so running against him is still interesting, still cool.
It should be good, and you've got a commentator as well on Saturday as well, haven't you?
Yeah.
Okay. I think unless Ayaash has got anything else to say, I think we're good.
I'm good. Thanks for commenting the race.
No problem. It was great to watch it, and hopefully we will see more. So I mentioned we've got Saturday, Oxford v Bearhead. Ayaash will be commentating, so it should be a really good match. So that's the next time you will be able to see us. But I think from me and I'll let Ayaash say goodbye. If he's there.
And see you Saturday.
No problem. We'll see you Saturday. That's it. I don't know what's coming up next on the channel, but there'll be something going on somewhere. So thanks for watching.